Good evening, Wilmington, and welcome to WCTV's live coverage of Election Night 2003. My name is Chris Cassidy, and I'm joined by a crew of about 10 of us from WCTV. We're reporting live from Room 9 of the Town Hall, and over the course of the next few hours, we hope you'll join us as we are committed to giving you the best possible coverage we can of tonight's town election. Well, it has been a very hotly contested and highly competitive election season this year. The campaign season got underway very early, earlier than normal. It got underway as early as January, with some candidates declaring their candidacy and filing their papers. It's been a long 3 months of debating and handshaking, and tonight, finally, the people of Wilmington have had a chance to speak. As for what they've said, we'll find out tonight as the results come in. I'd like to take a moment now and tell you a little bit about the format of tonight's coverage. We have an action-packed couple of hours for you, and it all surrounds the unofficial results, which will be coming in very, very shortly. We invite you to stay tuned with us for that. We have a series of WCTV volunteers that are located at all three of Wilmington's polling locations. They'll be bringing the results, the unofficial results, here to Town Hall, and Town Moderator Jim Stewart will be announcing those results as they come in. We'll also be giving you interviews with the winning and losing candidates tonight, try to talk a little bit about town politics and the issues that have come up over the past campaign season. We'd also like to talk to some of the current town officials and get their thoughts on this past campaign season. And of course, we'll be giving you some election analysis, try to give you some context and some perspective as to what this election means for the future of the people of Wilmington. And we invite you to stay with us all evening long. We'll be having the final official results announced by Town Clerk Kay Scanlon, and immediately following that, we will have the swearing-in ceremony where tonight's winners will take the oath of office. So it's very possible tonight that there were some candidates that walked into Town Hall this evening merely as candidates. They'll be walking out, some of them, as newly elected town officials. Well, it's now a few minutes after 8 o'clock. The polls are now closed. Wilmington voters had an opportunity to vote in one of three voting locations around town: the Wildwood School, the West Intermediate School, and the Town Hall. The polling hours were between 10 a.m. and 8 p.m., and I was here at the Town Hall this morning at 10 a.m., and there was a line out the door, people wanting to get into the polls and register their vote. It's one of the longest lines I've seen in the past couple of years for people wanting to get in and cast their vote in this year's town election. Well, the weather has always played an important role in turnout this year, and today's weather could be no exception. It was very cold early, but as the day went on, it got a little bit warmer, and that may have had an impact on voter turnout. We'll get to those figures in just a moment. It was a sunny day all day today, and that usually means an increase in voter turnout. I'd like to give you some of the latest figures that we have now of the voter turnout as of 7 p.m. That was an hour ago, an hour before the polls closed. I believe we have a graphic for that. As of 7 p.m. tonight, the turnout in Wilmington, 3,417 votes. That does not take into account the 200-plus absentee ballots that were filed and that Kay Scanlon had been accepting as late as 8 p.m. tonight. So adding those numbers together, it would be about 3,600 or so people that have voted in this year's town election. To give you a little bit of a breakdown of the votes, the hour-by-hour breakdown of when people voted today, between the hours of 10 and noon, that was the time where the most people voted. As we said, there was a long line going out the door between 10 and noon. 1,297 people came out to vote in those 2 hours, and then it gradually decreased the number of people that voted between noon and 2, 847 people. Between 2 and 4, it was 632. Between 4 p.m. and 6 p.m., 464 people. And between 6 and 7, 177. That's only a 1 hour margin, but that was 177 people that came in to vote for a cumulative total of 3,417. And to give you some perspective as to how this year's voter turnout ranks with the last 4 or 5 years, we have a graphic that shows you the breakdown of the voter turnout over the last 5 years. In 1999, there were 1,826 people that came out to vote in the annual town annual town election, reflecting 13% of the registered voters in town. In the year 2000, it was 1,790, or 13% of the registered voters. In 2001, 3,206. 2002 is 3,576, and in 2003, 3,417. Again, with those absentee ballots, this could be the year with the highest voter turnout in at least the last 5 years. I'd like now to run through the ballot and tell you the people that are going to be running in this campaign, the people that you'll be seeing this evening, and when the results come in, these are the people that may or may not be elected to town office. If we could run through the ballot. We'll start off with the Board of Selectmen seat. This is probably the most competitive seat of the year. This is one seat open for 3 years and 5 people vying for that one open seat. Bob Kane is the incumbent, a 25-year incumbent of the Board of Selectmen. This could be the toughest challenge of his political career, but it has been a hard fight, and we'll see what happens when the results come in. Challenging him, Jerry Duggan was a selectman from 1992 to 1995, also a former Wilmington firefighter and an associate at the Kavanaugh Funeral Home here in Wilmington. Also in this year's race, Carl Sagal, a political newcomer who also has a talk show on Wilmington Community Television. Frank West is also running. He's run unsuccessfully in the past. He's also a member of the Wilmington Historic Commission and has been very active in some of the town meetings over the past couple of years. And also Ann Urich, a political newcomer who's described herself as the quiet candidate in this year's race. We'll see how that bodes for her as the results come in. Turning now to the other selectmen's race, one open seat for 1 year. There are 2 people running for that seat. The first person is Suzanne Sullivan, a local activist in town who had campaigned for that special town meeting in August to talk about the Wilmington Memorial Library and the location of that building. She's being challenged by Dan Wandel Jr., who is a political newcomer and a manager in the Secretary of Commonwealth Bill Galvin's office. He's also the son of former selectman in town, Dan Wandel Jr. And the only other contested race this year in Wilmington is the school committee race. There are 2 school committee races, but only one of them is contested. That one, 2 open seats for 3 years. The competitors are Michael Baker, an EMT and engineer who has a child in the school system and is also a political newcomer. He's being challenged by Mark DiGiovanni, who was appointed to the school committee in October of 2002. He was not elected, therefore he's not considered an incumbent, but he's been on the committee for the past 6 months and hoping to be elected. He's also a graduate of Wilmington High School in 1999 and currently a senior at Babson College. The other challenger in this year's school committee race, Anthony Quincy Valley, an attorney for the past 7 years, has spent 6 years in Wilmington and has an MBA from Yale University. Let's go to the other races now. These are the uncontested races as they stand. The school committee race, 2 people vying for 2 open seats for 2 years. They are Teresa Bono-Payne and Marilyn Lamson. Marilyn Lamson is already a member of the school committee and was appointed a few months ago. And running in the town moderator's race, one person vying for 1 open seat. That's the current town moderator, Jim Stewart, who will be joining me in just a few minutes. Going to the housing authority race, there is 1 open seat for 5 years. That challenger or person running is Robert DiPasquale, the incumbent. On the redevelopment authority, 1 open seat for 5 years. Jason Tilsley is running, and he will be elected tonight. And on the regional school committee, it's James Gillis running for re-election, 1 open seat for 3 years. I'd like to introduce a person who will be my co-host for this evening, somebody that will be reading off the results as they become available. He's our town moderator, Mr. Jim Stewart. Jim, welcome to WCTV.
Thank you, Chris. Good to be back.
Could you tell us a little bit about how the results and what your role is going to be in the reading off the results tonight?
Sure. First of all, happy Easter, everyone. And thank you for joining us for WCTV coverage of this year's live election results. And thank you to you, Chris. We had a 1-year hiatus last year where you weren't available to do the show, and you're back, and thank you. I think the people of Wilmington owe you a great deal of gratitude. There's a number of people who watch this show every year to get their election results as a result of this show, so thank you. The process we're going to use, I'll be going into the main auditorium at the town hall in just a few minutes and getting the voter sheets that come right off of the voting machines that you cast your ballots on today. I'll be bringing those back in here. Those will be for precincts 5 and 6 for the folks who voted at town hall. We have other members of WCTV going to get the sheets for precincts 1 through 4 at the other 2 polling locations. I'll be reading those off from each race that is taking place today and bring you the unofficial results exclusive of the absentee ballots. The absentee ballots will be counted by Kay Scanlon, our town clerk, and she'll bring you the official results as soon as her staff has everything counted, probably sometime after 9 o'clock this evening.
Jim, let's talk a little bit about the voter turnout. It's probably going to reach about 3,600, the highest in at least 5 years. What do you think are some of the reasons people came out to vote today? It's also a holiday weekend where we figured a lot of people might go away or stay home. Or why such a high turnout today?
Well, I think that Actually, I might have a little different opinion on that. I was actually figuring there was going to be a much higher turnout today than there was. You know, last year we had not as hotly contested a race for selectmen as we do this year. We had almost 3,500 voters come out last year. This year we should be somewhere in the 3,800 range. Although it's a holiday weekend, I was expecting to get over the 4,000 mark with as many as 13,000 some odd registered voters in town. So I was a little bit surprised with all of the work that's gone in from the various candidates. I thought would have a higher turnout today. But thank you to all the voters who did come out today. Tough weekend to come out. There's always been a lot of discussion about whether the election and the town meeting date should be changed to get away from school vacation and get away from the Easter holiday weekend. Maybe someone will bring that to the town meeting floor someday and look for a change there.
And it seems to be a resurgence in interest in a lot of these races. It's probably been the largest number of competitors for the selectmen's race. For the first time in a long time, the school committee race is being contested. Do you think there's something about the issues in town that's drawing people to run?
Well, it's especially good to see people running for the school committee again. When the Education Reform Act went in, we saw a little bit of a lapse in interest in people running for school committee, feeling that the superintendent of schools had all of the power that the school committee used to have as a result of education reform. And it's great to see people, especially young folks in the town of Wilmington, getting involved again, especially in the school process. Boy, do we need folks really taking charge of the school committee, especially with the new superintendent coming on board. It's great to see people running for those races.
And as important as town election is, a week from now, the town meeting, you want to tell some people about that?
Sure. Town meeting starts next Saturday at 10:30 at the Larry Cushion Gymnasium at Wilmington High School. We have 49 articles on tap for the annual town meeting, and I encourage everyone to come down and vote. What can be the most democratic process in the world depends on you coming and voting and not allowing it to be the most special interest-oriented process in the world. We need voter participation to make sure that you get your say in town government. Please come out and vote next Saturday at 10:30.
And I think people that attended the special town meeting in August probably know just how important it is. Every vote counts. That vote for the Wilmington Library came down to about 5 or 6 votes.
I think it was 5 or 6 at last annual town meeting, and 8 votes decided to vote in August. And I assure you, ladies and gentlemen, it will not be as hot at the Wilmington Gymnasium as it was in that auditorium in August.
All right, Jim Stewart, thanks. We'll be seeing you throughout the
you.
evening. All right, I'd like to introduce my second guest of the evening, the current incumbent selectman running for re-election, Mr. Bob Kane. Bob, welcome to WCTV.
Thank you, Chris.
Great. Now, this has been a very tough, very competitive selectmen's race. How do you feel as we have about 10 minutes before the results come in? What's going through your mind right now?
I'm kind of exhausted right now. They say that you run for office. I think I've been standing in the same spot for 10 hours watching people come by. So it's quite apprehensive. It's the same, I think, no matter how many times you're running for office, it's the same. You have the same concerns you did as you do the first time. Mm-hmm. So what we try to do is get our people out to vote, and I hope a lot of them showed up today.
Right. One of the biggest issues in the campaign was the Board of Selectmen not being able to get down to town business, a lot of fighting back and forth. Do you see it that way, and do you think that the selectmen can ultimately get down to business if you think that that's the case, the problem?
Well, it seemed to be a lot of disruption at the meetings, but town business got done. It was not the problem of the business of the community being taken care of. It was a problem of people's personalities that just became outspoken, and it's difficult to control somebody's emotions when they start to speak out.
Mm-hmm. One of the issues in this year's campaign was also that of the town manager's contract. Why was that such a big issue, seeing as though the contract had been signed earlier, before the as we stand right now, the contract has been signed. Why has it been, in your opinion, such a big issue in the campaign?
Well, obviously there was at least 2 selectmen that didn't support the rehiring of the town manager, and it just takes 3 to dismiss them. And they have the opportunity to dismiss them without cause. So that, for somebody that's given so much to the community, that's done so well, that's been such a good manager, got us from being in a deficit of $2.5 million, getting us into $9 million in free cash, which is done not from over-taxation, by the way. It's done from good investment and for things coming in under budget, such as the new intermediate school, and the money that is appropriate at town meeting. When that is not spent in the department heads, that also goes back into free cash. And our bond rating went from A to A plus to AA minus to AA. So that saved the town money as well. So every time that we needed to borrow money for the schools or the new public safety building, we did it at less cost. So that returned money back to the community.
There were some letters written to some of the various local papers by one of your colleagues, Selectman Mike McCoy, with some criticisms against you, saying that you and Ann Urick were running as a team. There are also some other allegations in the letter. How do you respond to those allegations?
Well, if it's difficult for a team as you're running them at the same seat, but I would be very happy to serve with Ann Urick as a member of the Board of Selectmen, not instead of me, but with me. So
Right.
I wish Ann well, and that hopes that she stays involved in the event that I win. And if I don't win, I guess I'll have to stay involved so that I have the opportunity to serve with her. She's quite a capable person, and I think she made a great impact with citizens within the community.
You've been a selectman for 25 years. Is that the exact number, or?
Right. They said I had to stay here till I got it right.
25 years, what would you say has been the key to the success of continuing being reelected?
Well, I think that the town manager helps me get reelected because he does such a good job, and the Board of Selectmen seem to take credit for what the town manager does. It spills over to us. So I think, and caring about the community is really an important thing. I've been very upfront and honest with people when they ask me a question. I've been very direct with my answers, and when I see somebody speaking out that doesn't bring forward the complete truth, I try to bring that to people's attention.
Right. If things should not go your way tonight, where do you go from here?
Well, I suppose I'll have to consider that, but I'd probably take a year off or so and then think about running again.
Mm-hmm. Great. Selectman Chairman Bob Kane, thank you for joining me.
Thank you very much. I like that title. Why not?
Great. Selectman Chairman Bob Kane. I'm also going to be joined in a moment by another candidate for selectman, Mr. Frank West. Sure. Frank, welcome to WCTV.
Hi, Chris. How you doing?
Can you tell me a little bit about why you are running? You've run unsuccessfully in the past. Why run again?
Well, basically, I think that the town needs a change, and I've been going to the selectmen's meetings for the last couple of years or so. I've been watching them on TV prior to that and also attending, but basically I see that the mood of the Board of Selectmen has been changing, and in my eyes it hasn't been in favor of the residents of the community, so I throw my hat in and see what I can do to help the residents.
One of your biggest issues has been creating more affordable senior housing in town. How does Frank West do that?
Well, basically, a few months ago, Ray Lepore had asked for a committee to start investigating senior housing. And basically, one of the first things I'd like to do is ask Selectman Lepore to resurrect that committee or begin that committee. And with the right people in that committee, I think we can actually get more senior housing. And the type of senior housing I'm talking about is like a Demi-Way style project where it's affordable. It's not like buying a condo or something along that end.
Mm-hmm. You've received actually a lot of endorsements in the past week. The Lowell Sun, Ray Lepore, Mike McCoy endorsed you. How powerful are those endorsements, and are there some endorsements that for you are more important and more valuable than others?
Well, I think the thing with the Lowell Sun, it's a major regional paper, so I was really pleased to have their endorsement, and quite frankly, to have two sitting selectmen on the board endorse me that just went through and won their election recently. Mm-hmm. I think that's certainly an asset.
One of the other things that you've said in the past has been that you aren't seeing representation on the Board of Selectmen. How do you go about changing that if you're elected, and can you describe some of your criticisms of the selectmen in the past year?
Well, I think part of it is that is the ability of the citizens, actually speaking, having the availability to speak before the board. Mm-hmm. Case in point, a couple of months ago, I raised my hand and wasn't called on. Had my hand up for a long time. The person beside of me was called, and some other people that were near me, and I, quite frankly, don't understand why I wasn't called. And I've seen other times when other citizens haven't been called. So, again, this is respect, I think, becomes a two-way street on the board. And I think that the people attending the meetings need to respect the board members as much as the board members need to respect the citizens. And I think that will work out great for everyone.
As we said, you've run unsuccessfully in the past. You're hoping this year will be different. And you've also been very active in a lot of the various meetings around town. How badly do you want to win tonight?
I'd love to win. Very badly, yes. And I just think that I'd be an asset to the community if I won.
Great. Frank West, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
All right. I see we have our first results of the evening, but are we going to go to them now, or let's go to Town Moderator Jim Stewart, who will have the first results of the evening. These are the unofficial results. They do not take into account the absentee ballots. They are also not sealed and approved by Town Clerk, but they do by the Town Clerk, Kay Scanlon, but they do give us a pretty good indication of how the evening will go. Let's send it over now to the Town Moderator, Jim Stewart, with the first results of the evening. Jim.
Thank you, Chris. I have precincts 5 and 6 from the Town Hall. Again, these are unofficial results, and these do not include the absentee ballots that the Town Clerk will be counting later. So, with no further ado, Selectmen, I'll call off the race, the candidate, and the number of votes, okay? Selectmen for 3 years. This machine, total of 95 votes cast. Kane, 19. Duggan, 19. Sagal, 11. West, 38. Urick, 7. Selectmen 1 year. Sullivan, 57. Wandell, 33. Moderator Stewart, 65. School Committee, 3 year. Baker, 34. DiGiovanni, 75. Vale, 18. School Committee 2 year. Bonapane, 53. Lawson, 50. Housing Authority, De Pasquale, 62. Redevelopment Authority, Tilsley, 70. Regional School Committee, Gillis, 64. Second machine of a total of 5 in this precinct. Total of 135 votes cast. Selectmen 3 year. Kane, 20. Duggan, 19. Sagal, 13. West, 73. Urick, 5. Moderator Stewart, 100. School Committee 3 year. Baker, 32. DiGiovanni, 92. Vale, 45. School Committee 2 year. Bonapane, 98. Lawson, 19. Hold on. Let me start this sheet over again. I'm sorry. Selectmen 3 year. Kane, 20. Duggan, 19. Sagal, 13. West, 73. Urick, 5. Selectmen 1 year. Sullivan, 100. Wandell, 32. Moderator Stewart, 92. School Committee 3 year. Baker, 45. DiGiovanni, 98. Vale, 19. School Committee 2 year. Bonapane, 58. Lawson, 67. Housing Authority, De Pasquale, 96. Redevelopment Authority, Tilsley, 97. Regional School Committee, Gillis, 92. Third machine, total of 123 votes cast. Selectmen 3 year. Kane, 20. Duggan, 22. Sagal, 10. West, 60. Urick, 8. Selectmen 1 year. Sullivan, 88. Wandell, 28. Moderator Stewart, 92. School Committee 3 year. Baker, 49. DiGiovanni, 84. Vale, 24. School Committee 2 year. Bonapane, 61. Lawson, 70. Housing Authority, De Pasquale, 86. Redevelopment Authority, Tilsley, 75. Regional School Committee, Gillis, 75. Fourth machine, total of 184 votes cast. Selectmen 3 year. Kane, 23. Duggan, 40. Sagal, 16. West, 85. Urick, 18. 1 year Selectmen's race. Sullivan, 138. Wandell, 46. Moderator Stewart, 135. School Committee 3 year. Baker, 81. DiGiovanni, 127. Vale, 29. School Committee 2 year. Bonapane, 96. Lawson, 92. Housing Authority, De Pasquale, 126. Redevelopment Authority, Tilsley, 117, and Regional School Committee, Gillis, 123. Last machine, Precinct 5, total of 143 votes cast. Selectmen 3-year, Kane, 26, Duggan, 26, Sagal, 16, West, 63, Urick, 6. Selectmen 1-year, Sullivan, 95, Wandell, 46. Moderator Stewart, 119. School Committee 3-year, Baker, 48, DiGiovanni, 95, Vale, 23. School Committee 2-year, Bonapane, 72, Lawson, 78, Housing Authority, De Pasquale, 90, Redevelopment Authority, Tilsley, 88, and Regional School Committee, Gillis, 90. That concludes Precinct 5, the unofficial results. We'll go to Precinct 6, and then we can go back to Mr. Cassidy while we're waiting the results from the other precincts. Okay. Precinct 6, total of 5 machines as well. First machine, 120 votes cast. Selectmen 3-year, Kane, 25, Duggan, 23, Sagal, 8, West, 48, Urick, 11. Selectmen 1-year, Sullivan, 81, Wandell, 38. Moderator Stewart, 84. School Committee 3-year, Baker, 35, DiGiovanni, 95, Vale, 17. School Committee 2-year, Bonapane, 57, Lawson, 68. Housing Authority, De Pasquale, 79. Redevelopment Authority, Tilsley, 88. And Regional School Committee, Gillis, 87. Second machine, 160 votes cast. Selectmen 3-year, Kane, 34, Duggan, 28, Sagal, 9, West, 74, Urick, 11. Selectmen 1-year, Sullivan, 109, Wandell, 45. Moderator Stewart, 116. School Committee 3-year, Baker, 38, DiGiovanni, 131, Vale, 31. School Committee 2-year, Bonapane, 77, Lawson, 87. Housing Authority, De Pasquale, 105. Redevelopment Authority, Tilsley, 103. Regional School Committee, Gillis, 103. Third machine, Precinct 6, 122 votes cast. Selectmen 3-year, Kane, 26, Duggan, 22, Sagal, 3, West, 56, Urick, 8. Selectmen 1-year, Sullivan, 83, Wandell, 36. Moderator Stewart, 81. School Committee 3-year, Baker, 38, DiGiovanni, 97, Vale, 16. School Committee 2-year, Bonapane, 46, Lawson, 62. Housing Authority, De Pasquale, 70. Redevelopment Authority, Tilsley, 71. Regional School Committee, Gillis, 71. Next machine, total of 77 votes cast. Selectmen 3-year, Kane, 15, Duggan, 13, Sagal, 8, West, 34, Urick, 6. Selectmen 1-year, Sullivan, 52, Wandell, 24. Moderator Stewart, 54. School Committee 3-year, Baker, 27, DiGiovanni, 60, Vale, 18. School Committee 2-year, Bonapane, 38, Lawson, 50. Housing Authority, De Pasquale, 52. Redevelopment Authority, Tilsley, 52. Regional School Committee, Gillis, 55. Last machine, Precinct 6, 81 votes cast. 3-year Selectman race, Kane, 22, Duggan, 16, Sagal 8, West 26, Uric 4. Selectmen 1 year, Sullivan 59, Wandell 18. Moderator Stewart 54. School Committee 3 year, Baker 21, DiGiovanni 73, Vale 10. School Committee 2 year, Bonapane 40, Lawson 43. The representative would turn his phone off. It might help us a little. Vale 49. I'm sorry, I'm going to start over. That machine, I'm sorry. Selectmen 3 year, Kane 22, Duggan 16, Sagal 8, West 26, Uric 4. Selectmen 1 year, Sullivan 59, Wandell 18. Moderator Stewart 54, School Committee 3 year, Baker 21, DiGiovanni 73, Vale 10. School Committee 2 year, Bonapane 40, Lawson 43. Housing Authority, De Pasquale 49, Redevelopment Authority, Tilsley 52, Regional School Committee, Gillis 51. That concludes the first two precincts, precincts 5 and 6 of the unofficial results, and I'll throw it back to you, Chris, while I am looking through these next two precincts, and we'll get started as soon as you're ready.
Thanks, Jim. And as we speak, we have a team of statisticians that are calculating those results and tabulating them, and we will get those results on your screen as soon as we possibly can, so stay with us for that. I'm joined by candidate for Selectman Carl Sagal. Carl, welcome to WCTV. Before we get started, I should congratulate you on the birth of your daughter earlier this week.
Right.
And so do you have actually pictures of her that you're
Yes.
going to show, I think, this evening?
Sure. Actually, this is a picture of my son with my daughter. We'll hold it here. And there it is. My 3-year-old with the 3-day-old.
Now let's talk a little bit about the race tonight. It seems as though, looking at the results, Frank West has topped the ticket, although these are unofficial results. We haven't tabulated them yet, and they haven't come from the town clerk. But what's your reaction from hearing the results tonight?
Well, it certainly looks like Frank is on the top of the tally. Congratulations, Frank. I think he ran a good race, and the issues that before the town still need to be addressed, and I wish him luck in addressing them, and I do believe the rest of us aren't going anywhere, so the issues will maintain, and those of us that can will be helping out to do what we can do.
What were some of the issues that drew you into the campaign? Why were you running this race this year?
In a nutshell, this is the reason I was running. This is the reason. This is also the reason I was running. It's 100% of why I'm here. I can do whatever I need, but my children, providing a good, safe environment, a good, healthy environment, good school system. That's why I live in Wilmington. That's why I moved here a number of years ago, was to raise them, and that's exactly why I want to be selectman, to help make sure that the boat stays on course.
I'm curious about your impressions as your first campaign.
Yes.
What were your impressions going around town talking to people? How did you feel? Did you feel this was a positive experience for you?
Very positive. Actually, I learned quite a bit in knocking on doors and talking to people. It's quite an educational process. I had never been involved with local government at all. And I'm generally not that political a person. So just to learn the nuts and bolts about how the campaign is run and what to expect was quite an education for me that I plan to use in the future.
Right. Now, you're no stranger to the cameras, WCTV. You have your own show, public
Right.
affairs show. Now, you made a conscious decision not to talk about the campaign while you were hosting your show.
Right.
I'm curious about the decision behind that. Why did you decide not to talk about the campaign on the station?
The reason I came up with the show is I was attending selectmen's meetings where several people would bring up different issues, but they're talked about either adversarially or cursorily, and there was no. I found it difficult to do the research and find out what these people were talking about. If you were involved from the very beginning in little dribs and drabs, you would get it at the different meetings. But I thought there was a need for a public space where an individual could talk about a topic at some length, half an hour, and not have
the adversarial give and take back and forth. So it was mostly for my own education as well as what I perceived as a need for the community.
If the results continue to come in the way they've been coming in, and it appears, if it continues to appear that Frank West will win, where do you go from here? Do you continue to run? Do you continue to fight for some of the issues they believe in?
I generally sit in that corner seat all the time at the selectmen's meetings. I see no reason why that would change. I was hoping to move a little farther to the front of the room, but I'll take the front row for another year and see where things go from there. I have actually some initiatives that I started as a citizen Sagal, and I will continue them.
Great. All right, Carl Sagal, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
All right. Well, we just heard some of the results this evening from Town Hall, and though we don't have them tabulated just yet, from hearing the results, it appears from those two precincts that Frank West is on top of the 3-year Board of Selectmen seat. In the 1-year seat, it appears, and again, we stress that these are unofficial results and that we can't concretely say that anything specific has happened, but it appears as though Suzanne Sullivan is on top. And in the only other contested race, which is a school committee seat for 3 years, it appears that Mark DiGiovanni has topped the ticket. Following him is Michael Baker, and Anthony Quincy Valley finishing third. So DiGiovanni and Baker are the two that we perceive to be in the lead, and that is the way things are going right now. I'd like to introduce my next guest this evening. She's also a candidate for the Board of Selectmen, the 3-year seat, Ann Yurick. Ann,
Hi.
welcome to WCTV.
Thank you.
What were some of the reasons that brought you out into the campaign trail and to run for selectmen?
The controversies that were going on in town, the debates that became very, very loud and noisy, and I just wanted to have a voice in it.
How would you characterize the campaign this year? It seemed as though it wasn't overly negative between
No, it
candidates
wasn't.
going back and forth, but how would you characterize it?
I thought it was a very good campaign. I thought that all of us spoke to our beliefs, which is what you're supposed to do, and everybody was respectful of each other, and that's another thing that should be exactly as it was.
And what would you hope to have come out of the Board of Selectmen's meetings, whether you're on it, whether you're not on
Yeah.
it? Over the next year, what are some of the things you'd like to see the Board of Selectmen address?
They are a team, and they are all working for the town of Wilmington, and that's what the responses should reflect. It's not about individuals.
There was, I asked this of Bob Kane, there's a letter written to some of the local papers that had basically alleged that you and Bob Kane were running as a team, the allegations from Selectman Mike McCoy. Would you care to address any of that?
I think Bob Kane and I respect each other very, very much. I chose to run. I wanted to give my voice to the issues. I respect who Bob Kane is. I respect the work that he's done over the last 25 years. It's my right to run, and so I did.
Great. All right. And Yurick, thanks for joining me.
Thank you.
All right. I'd like to introduce my next guest for the evening. This is Suzanne Sullivan, a candidate in the 1-year seat for Selectmen. Welcome to WCTV. Your reaction to the results. It appears as though you're on top in the first 2 precincts that we've heard tonight.
Well, it looks like that a lot of the hard work that we've done is paying off, so I'm happy about that.
Why run for the Selectmen? So you've been very active in the past. Why join the Selectmen?
Well, just to have a change and to have the voice of the people back to town government where it belongs.
You were also very active in the library. Is that a dead issue now? Is that going to come back? Where do you see the library issue going?
Well, I
next
hope
year?
I hope we can figure out a way to address the library issues, because Wilmington deserves to have a library that fits the needs of the community. So I hope that we can get to that point.
One of the other issues coming out of the campaign this year was the town manager's contract. A lot of different opinions on that. How do you feel the results tonight? Should they continue to go the way that they are? How does that bode, in your opinion, for town manager Mike Kyra?
What do you mean?
How will this committee work with, if in fact the 2 leaders, you and Frank West, run away with the race? How will this new board work with town manager Mike Kyra?
Well, I hope that he'll work with us, because that's he's supposed to be working for the Board of Selectmen. So, and I hope that that's going to happen, and I look forward to working with the town manager.
And if there's one issue or maybe 2 issues, things that you would really like to see the selectmen address, and if you're on that board, what will the selectmen be doing over the next year?
Hopefully a lot of things. I think senior housing should get addressed, the environmental issues, the water issues to get addressed. those are two main issues in my mind. The taxes, that's another issue that needs to be addressed.
You've also, like Frank West, had a lot of endorsements. Lowell Sun endorsed you. You got an endorsement from Jim Maselli, and also Ray Lepore. How important are those endorsements to you to have those people in your corner? And there's some endorsements that are more important than others.
Well, it's good. Probably even, it's nice to have the endorsement that came out of the Lowell Sun, and I did an interview with them, and we talked, and it's nice to see that they understand where I'm coming from, and I think that the directives that I have are important for the town. And as far as Mr. Maselli, Representative Maselli and Mr. Lepore, they're two great guys, and to have them in my corner means a lot to me.
Great. Suzanne Sullivan, thank you for joining me.
Thank you.
All right. And I see we have more results, more unofficial results from some of the polling locations around town. Let's send it over now to Town Moderator Jim Stewart, who will read off the rest of the results. Let's go now to some tabulated votes as we have them. We have calculated some of the results from precincts 5 and 6. If we can, post those graphics. Here we go. These are the tabulated results for the first two precincts. These are unofficial. They don't take into account the absentee ballots, as I've said before, but let's run through them. It appears as though the overwhelming leader so far, Frank West, 557 votes. That's about 46% of the total vote. Only one of these candidates will emerge victorious tonight. In second place, Bob Kane with 230 votes, or 19%, and just behind him is Jerry Duggan with 228 votes. In fourth place, Carl Sagal with 101 votes, 8% of the vote. And Ann Urick with 84 votes, fifth place. That's 7% of the votes so far. Do we have other results, or is that it for the selectmen's race? We have more results here. The one-year seat, this was between Suzanne Sullivan and Dan Wandel Jr., and it appeared as though Suzanne Sullivan had gone on top of this race, and we have some graphics here, and of course, it shows Suzanne Sullivan, 862 votes, 71%, an overwhelming lead over Dan Wandel Jr. with 346 votes. That's 29% of the vote. The other contested race of the evening, the school committee race, 2 open seats for 3 years, and this one appears also to be somewhat decisive. Mark DiGiovanni topping the ticket by an overwhelming margin, 856 votes, 65%. Immediately behind him, Mike Baker, 469 votes, or 35%. So it appears as though those two, if the trend were to continue throughout the evening, that those two would be elected to the school committee. Anthony Quincy Vale, 186 votes, 14%. Those are the contested races as we have them. We will be updating that as the night goes on. We have some more unofficial results. Let's send it over to Town Moderator Jim Stewart.
Thank you, Chris. I have Precinct 4, 5 machines in Precinct 4. First machine, 148 votes cast. 3-year selectmen's race. Kane, 35. Duggan, 28. Sagal, 10. West, 57. Urick, 13. Selectmen 1 year. Sullivan, 98. Wandel, 43. Moderator Stewart, 117. School Committee 3 year. Baker, 47. DiGiovanni, 97. Vale, 33. School Committee 2 year. Bonapane, 69. Lawson, 83. Housing Authority, DePasquale, 101. Redevelopment Authority, Tilsley, 96. Regional School Committee, Gillis, 97. Second machine, 145 votes cast. Selectmen 3 year, Kane, 28. Duggan, 37. Sagal, 12. West, 57. Urick, 10. Selectmen 1 year, Sullivan, 99. Wandel, 42. Moderator Stewart, 99. School Committee 3 year, Baker, 38. DiGiovanni, 97. Vale, 31. School Committee 2 year, Bonapane, 65. Lawson, 82. Housing Authority, DePasquale, 97. Redevelopment Authority, Tilsley, 93. Regional School Committee, Gillis, 92. Third machine of 5, 143 votes cast. Selectmen 3 year, Kane, 24. Duggan, 40. Sagal, 11. West, 51. Urick, 15. Selectmen 1 year, Sullivan, 91. Wandel, 48. Moderator Stewart, 97. School Committee 3 year, Baker, 46. DiGiovanni, 88. Vale, 30. School Committee 2-year, Bonapane, 68. Lawson, 70. Housing Authority, Deep Pasquale, 89. Redevelopment Authority, Tilsley, 95. Regional School Committee, Gillis, 88. Fourth of 5 machines, 137 votes cast in Precinct 4. Selectmen 3-year, Kane, 22. Duggan, 34. Sagal, 12. West, 59. Urick, 10. Selectmen 1-year, Sullivan, 98. Wandell, 38. Moderator Stewart, 95. School Committee 3-year, Baker, 41. DiGiovanni, 97. Vale, 32. School Committee 2-year, Bonapane, 76. Lawson, 76. Housing Authority, Deep Pasquale, 96. Redevelopment Authority, Tilsley, 94. Regional School Committee, Gillis, 99. This last machine has 137 votes cast, and I have to apologize. I am having a great deal of difficulty reading some of these numbers, so I'll do my best, okay? Selectmen 3-year, 137 votes cast total. Selectmen 3-year, Kane, 20. Duggan, 28. Sagal, 7. West, I believe, is 63. Urick, I believe, is 16. Sullivan, 1-year seat. Sullivan, 99. Wandell, 34. Moderator Stewart, I believe, is 97. 3-year School Committee, Baker, 39. DiGiovanni, I can't read that at all. It looks something like 98.
Isn't a dangling shadow.
No, it's Vale, 34. School Committee 2-year, Bonapane, I believe, is 64. Lawson is 72. Housing Authority, Deep Pasquale, I believe, is 76. Redevelopment Authority, Tilsley, I believe, is 76. And Regional School Committee, Gillis, is 82. I apologize, they're very blurred. That concludes. She just gave me her glasses. It's not my eyes. It's the paper, okay? Okay, this is now Precinct 3. 1, 2, 3, 5 machines again. First machine, 120 votes cast. Selectmen 3-year, Kane, 13. Duggan, 43. Sagal, 6. West, 46. Urick, 12. Selectmen 1-year, Sullivan, 84. Wandell, 34. Moderator Stewart, 88. School Committee 3-year, Baker, 36. DiGiovanni, 72. Vale, 34. School Committee 2-year, Bonapane, 56. Lawson, 65. Housing Authority, Deep Pasquale, 82. Redevelopment Authority, Tilsley, 72. Regional School Committee, Gillis, 82. Next machine, 127 votes cast. Selectmen 3-year, Kane, 25. Duggan, 35. Sagal, 8. West, 48. Urick, 8. Selectmen 1-year, Sullivan, 89. Wandell, 34. Moderator Stewart, 101. 3-year School Committee, Baker, 55. DiGiovanni, 92. Vale, 26. School Committee 2-year, Bonapane, 67. Lawson, 65. Housing Authority, Deep Pasquale, 90. Redevelopment Authority, Tilsley, 87. Regional School Committee, Gillis, 90. Third machine of 5, 139 votes cast. Selectmen 3-year, Kane, 30. Duggan, 28. Sagal, 7. West, 63. Urick, 8. Selectmen 1-year, Sullivan, 96. Wandell, 38. Moderator Stewart, 103. School Committee 3-year, Baker, 41. DiGiovanni, 102. Vale, 27. School Committee 2-year, Bonapane, 71. Lawson, 67. Housing Authority, Deep Pasquale, 104. Redevelopment Authority, Tilsley, 97. Regional School Committee, Gillis, 105. Fourth of 5 machines, 120 votes cast. Selectmen 3-year, Kane, 20. Duggan, 40. Sagal, 9. West, 39. Urick, 10. Selectmen 1-year, Sullivan, 86. Wandell, 32. Moderator Stewart, 87. School Committee 3-year, Baker 42, DiGiovanni 81, Vale 23. School Committee 2-year, Bonapane 60, Lawson 63, Housing Authority Deep Pasquale 82, Redevelopment Authority Tilsley 78, Regional School Committee Gillis 81. Last machine, Precinct 3, 119 votes cast. Selectmen 3-year, Kane 23, Duggan 30, Sagal 6, West 48, Urick 9. Selectmen 1-year, Sullivan 81, Wandell 35, Moderator Stewart 89. School Committee 3-year, Baker 36, DiGiovanni 86, Vale 25. School Committee 2-year, Bonapane 68, Lawson 67, Housing Authority Deep Pasquale 86, Redevelopment Authority Tilsley 84, Regional School Committee Gillis 82. That concludes Precinct 3. We have 2 more precincts to do, and if you want me to continue, I will.
Let's go now to, thanks, Jim. Let's go now to State Representative Jim Maselli. And Jim, for those of you that are just joining us from WCTV, we should say that it appears as though Frank West is going to top the 3-year selectman seat, and Suzanne Sullivan will top the 1-year selectman seat. And in the school committee race, the only contested race of the evening, it appears as though Mark DiGiovanni will top the ticket, and Mike Baker will also be elected to the school committee. So we're still awaiting the 2 additional precincts, which we'll be reading in just a few moments. We're also awaiting those final official results from Town Clerk Kay Scanlon. Representative Jim Maselli, thanks for joining me.
My pleasure.
Your reaction to the results tonight appears to be very decisive.
Yes. Let me tell you, when the election started today, I, like you, felt that the turnout was going to be pretty poor. But as the day ensued, turnout became better and better. In fact, it almost equals last year's turnout. I would say, without hesitation, and nothing aimed toward any of the candidates, the people wanted a change. I think that was said loud and clear. You know, and I've got to be upfront and honest with you, and I think you know, I ran one of the campaigns, so I'm just trying to be very objective. It was the candidate that Suzanne Sullivan I'm talking about right now is someone who had a track record. She had been into the selectmen's meetings week after week, did a lot as far as the environment was concerned. She deserves a lot of credit for what happened with the Olin Chemical Company. She was just somebody who had a lot of credentials, and I think she was an easy candidate for people to look at and feel that this is the kind of person they wanted to represent them. So I think loud and clear, overwhelming, not even close, they've asked for a change. Mm-hmm. And it will behoove the newly elected candidates to make sure that they fulfill the promise or the legacy that was passed to them by the community. And I have great faith in both of them, and I think they're going to build some pretty good track records. But these are both activists in the community, and you know, a lot of good candidates in this election, mm-hmm. and who put up great campaigns. But as I said, the people spoke loud and clear, and they spoke loudly for change.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you mentioned change. Why do you think people want so much change in the past year?
There are a lot of questions in their mind. There are a lot of questions relative to, they're very unsettled by looking at a board that was always 3-2 and very contentious. And I think someone's got to be honest. And I think that had a lot to do with it. But they were very selective, too. They decided who they wanted to elect, as they've always done in the past. And this is a pretty astute community. They usually see through the smoke and mirrors, and they came up with their choice. And I'll tell you, I think both of these candidates are going to be outstanding selectmen. I think the town's going to sit back and decide in a few weeks down the road, after seeing a lot of what goes on, that they made some good choices. Mm-hmm. But I'll say it again, they were all good candidates running. There was a wide array of people to choose from. But these two folks that were picked, I think are going to do an outstanding job.
Let's talk about the 3-year seat for a second. There are 5 people going for 1 seat, and it appears as though people overwhelmingly went to Frank West, which is unusual considering he's, well, usually an incumbent with the amount with the power of the incumbency can usually mount a big enough win or usually if they're political newcomers, it'll be split. Why do you think so many people went for Frank West as opposed to being split among the 4 incumbents? If there is, 4 newcomers, I should say.
Let me give you my humble answer as someone who's been involved in a few campaigns. Looking at the weather today, looking at the fact that it was the day before Easter, the candidate who succeeds today is the candidate who was able to get their vote out. The candidate who was able to get to the phones, the candidate who was able to get their message across, and the candidate who had a track record. And I happen to know a little bit about the other campaign, although I was not involved in that 3-year election, only in the 1-year seat. I happen to know that Frank West had a very well-organized campaign, and I'm quite sure they did the same thing that we did today. And I keep coming back to that. I see people looking. These are good candidates. They are. And but well-organized, well-run campaigns. And I'll tell you the first thing we should do, without hesitation, is to adopt the same bylaw that other communities have. And the bylaw says that you can't have an election on a day such as this before a holiday, because I'll tell you, I think the turnout would have been even larger, much larger, if this had been a normal week and normal Saturday, and not the Saturday before Easter or the Saturday after Passover. And so I'll say it again, that 2 good candidates, all the candidates who ran were very good, and I think they're going to do an outstanding job.
I think just as big of a headline as Frank West and Suzanne Sullivan appear to win the selectman seat is Bob Kane, 25-year incumbent, ousted after 25 years. What are your memories of Bob Kane, and what are your thoughts about maybe why he wasn't successful tonight?
Bob's always been a hard worker, but I will say this, I've been in the legislature, and I've seen that happen to legislators who have been in for many years, and the public decides. And once again, you can't underestimate a well-organized campaign. I mean, you look at the day before a holiday, you better have everything in place. But as far as a long-term incumbency, I've seen long-term incumbents in the legislature lose. So, you know, that's happens often. It does. Mm-hmm. But as far as locally is concerned, I keep coming back. No matter whether it was John Smith sitting in that seat, the public wanted to change. They did. And that's what happened.
One of the other big issues in the campaign was the town manager and his contract. How do you think the results tonight are going to bode for the town manager?
Let me tell you, that was the most overblown rumor that I'll tell you, someone put out on that street and even had me shaking my head in disbelief. I couldn't believe it. I was in the dentist's office yesterday morning. Dr. Soper, my apologies to Ernie Wallant, and who did a great job for us. But I was in the dentist's office yesterday. Gentleman walks in, starts talking to me, and I've known him for years. And he talked to me, and he said, you know, I've always supported you. He said, gee, I keep reading in that paper, they're going to fire the town manager? I said, oh, my God. I sat back. I said, this thing is running rampant. But it was a rumor. And what I think you're going to see, but I don't know this for a fact, I think you're going to see the folks who are elected take a look at the contract to see what it contains, what's in it, how tight it is, how untight it is. I think it would behoove them to do that. But he's got a 3-year contract. I thought it was a moot issue. But boy, I'll tell you, I've been in this town a long time. And I remember those little rumors that would drop with hairdressers and barbers. But this thing was the granddaddy of them all, I'll tell you. It even had me wondering sometime. I said, gee, is that true? You know, but
Right.
I honestly don't think that played any part at all, except a very small part. Mm-hmm. Because I think, I'll say it, Wilmington has an astute constituency who can look at it and separate fact from fiction.
Right. State Representative Jim Maselli,
My
thank
pleasure.
you for joining me.
Thank you.
We have more results this evening, the final unofficial results. These are the final 2 precincts, I should say. The final official results will be coming in later. Let's send it over again to Jim Stewart with precincts 1 and 2.
Thank you, Chris. And before I get to the next sheet, Marilyn Lampson, I'm sorry, I'm pronouncing your name wrong, and I just, no excuse. The machines, as you vote them, go left to right, and I'm reading them, they come off exactly the opposite. So to help myself, I turned the voter sheet upside down, and I saw a W as opposed to an M. I'm sorry. So that's the truth. I apologize. I've been pronouncing her name wrong, and my error. So we are in Precinct 2, total of 5 machines as well. 156 votes cast. Selectmen 3-year, Kane 25, Duggan 34, Sagal 9, West 67, Urick 16. Selectmen 1-year, Sullivan 102, Wandell 52, Moderator Stewart 103, School Committee 3-year, Baker 54, DiGiovanni 96, Vale 30. School Committee 2-year, Bonapane 72, Marilyn Lamson 71. Housing Authority, De Pasquale 97, Redevelopment Authority, Tilsley 100, Regional School Committee, Gillis 98. Second machine, 154 votes cast. 3-year Selectmen's race, Kane 14, Duggan 45, Sagal 12, West 58, Urick 19. 1-year seat, Sullivan 110, Wandell 40, Moderator Stewart 105, 3-year School Committee, Baker 60, DiGiovanni 97, Vale 29. School Committee 2-year, Bonapane 73, Lamson 72. Housing Authority, De Pasquale 99, Redevelopment Authority, Tilsley 105, Regional School Committee, Gillis 89. Third machine, 75 votes cast. 3-year Selectmen's race, Kane 12, Duggan 17, Sagal 10, West 26, Urick 7. 1-year Selectmen's seat, Sullivan 45, Wandell 26, Moderator Stewart 56, School Committee 3-year, Baker 29, DiGiovanni 43, Vale 10. School Committee 2-year, Bonapane 35, Lamson 34. Housing Authority, De Pasquale 49, Redevelopment Authority, Tilsley 55, Regional School Committee, Gillis 47. Fourth machine, 91 votes cast. 3-year Selectmen, Kane 11, Duggan 28, Sagal 5, West 35, Urick 7. 1-year Selectmen, Sullivan 63, Wandell 26, Moderator Stewart 59, School Committee 3-year, Baker 26, DiGiovanni 61, Vale 16. School Committee 2-year, Bonapane 35, Lamson 51. Housing Authority, De Pasquale 57, Redevelopment Authority, Tilsley 52, Regional School Committee, Gillis 58. Last machine, Precinct 2, 113 votes cast. Selectmen, Kane 9, Duggan 34, Sagal 10, West 48, Urick 11. 1-year Selectmen, Sullivan 89, Wandell 24, Moderator Stewart 81, School Committee 3-year, Baker 33, DiGiovanni 77, Vale 34. School Committee 2-year, Bonapane 61, Lamson 68, Housing Authority, De Pasquale 89, Redevelopment Authority, Tilsley 83, Regional School Committee, Gillis 77. And the last precinct, Precinct 1. Also 5 machines. First machine, 47 votes cast. Selectmen 3-year, Kane 9, Duggan 8, Sagal 2, West 22, Urick 6. Selectmen 1-year, Sullivan 29, Wandell 18, Moderator Stewart 35, School Committee Baker, 3-year School Committee Baker 24, DiGiovanni 27, Vale 15, School Committee 2-year, Bonapane 28, Lamson 27, Housing Authority, De Pasquale 35, Redevelopment Authority, Tilsley 31, Regional School Committee, Gillis 33. Second machine, 92 votes cast. 3-year Selectman seat, Kane 12, Duggan 22, Sagal 3, West 42, Urick 12. 1-year seat, Sullivan, I believe that is a 61, Wandell 31. Moderator Stewart 67, 3-year School Committee Baker 49, DiGiovanni 45, Vale 24. School Committee 2-year Bonapane 44, Lamson 51. Housing Authority, Deep Pasquale, 60. Redevelopment Authority, Tilsley, 59. Regional School Committee, Gillis, 55. Third machine, 102 votes cast. 3-year Selectman, Kane, 17. Duggan, 18. Sagal, 3. West, 47. Urick, 15. 1 year, Sullivan, 64. Wandell, 36. Moderator Stewart, 68. School Committee, 3-year, Baker, 41. DiGiovanni, 66. Vale, 20. School Committee, 2-year, Bonapane, 55. Lamson, 49. Housing Authority, Deep Pasquale, 61. Tilsley Redevelopment Authority, 63. Regional School Committee, Gillis, 60. Fourth machine, 90 votes cast. Selectmen, 3-year, Kane, 14. Duggan, 21. Sagal, 3. West, 40. Urick, 10. Selectmen, 1 year, Sullivan, 55. Wandell, 34. Moderator Stewart, 65. School Committee, 3-year, Baker, 41. DiGiovanni, 57. Vale, 19. School Committee, 2-year, Bonapane, 52. Lamson, 51. Housing Authority, Deep Pasquale, 69. Regional Redevelopment Authority, Tilsley, 65. Regional School Committee, Gillis, 67. Final machine, Precinct 1, final precinct. 77 votes cast. Selectmen, 3-year, Kane, 9. Duggan, 17. Sagal, 1. West, 37. Urick, 12. Selectmen, 1 year, Sullivan, 54. Wandell, 22. Moderator Stewart, 59. School Committee, 3-year, Baker, 28. DiGiovanni, 51. Vale, 17. School Committee, 2-year, Bonapane, 40. Lamson, 43. Housing Authority, Deep Pasquale, 54. Redevelopment Authority, Tilsley, 59. And Regional School Committee, Gillis, 59. That concludes all 6 precincts, the unofficial votes excluding the absentee ballots. And Kay Scanlon, our town clerk, will be with us hopefully shortly for the official results. Thank you. Back to you, Chris.
Chairman, we should also tell our viewers that immediately following Kay Scanlon's announcement of the final official results, we'll have the oath of office. The winners of tonight's races will be sworn in by the town clerk. If you're just joining us, we would project Frank West, the overwhelming winner in the Selectmen's race, the 3-year seat. In the 1-year seat for the Board of Selectmen, we would project that Suzanne Sullivan will be the winner. And in the School Committee seat, the 2 seats open for 3 years. One of those apparent winners, and I would say overwhelming winner, topping the ticket today, Mark DiGiovanni. Mark, welcome to WCTV.
Thanks, Chris.
I think you've won the award for most signs around town. Tell us a little bit about what you did as far as your campaigning goes.
Well, it's a lot of work, and you just give it your best effort. And I know as my coaches like Chip Bruce, Dick Scanlon, Steve Scanlon always told me that good things happen when you work hard. So I put my best effort forward, and it seems like it may have paid off.
Mm-hmm. And why, you're like me, you're a senior in college, you're young, why get involved in the school committee?
Well, I think Wilmington has really given me a lot. It's provided me with the opportunity to go on to college and be successful and do well. So I think this is just a way for me to give back and show my appreciation and my pride in the town of Wilmington.
Mm-hmm. And what kind of perspective does that bring? It is kind of unique. You probably, I'm sure you're the youngest person on the school committee. What perspective, what added bonus does that give to the school committee?
Well, I still have a lot of connections with many things. I'm involved a lot in the town. I know a lot of the kids within the school system, so it kind of gives me an inside scoop. And I think just having been through the school system, in college presently, and so I know the challenges that students face in today's society, which, you know, probably a lot different than they used to be back then. So with that aspect, I think it can continue to provide some invaluable insight.
Mm-hmm. And you've been on the school committee. You were appointed in October of 2002. You were also part of that committee that chose the new superintendent. Tell us a little bit about him and what kind of things you think he's going to offer once Geraldine O'Donnell retires.
We selected Bill McAuliffe, and I'm very excited to have the opportunity to work with him. He seems like a great guy. I know a lot of people's concerns with communication within the school system, the use of email and so forth. He seems like he's very outgoing, looking forward to interact with everybody in the community to see what our needs are. That's one of the reasons why I chose him. And I think on that aspect, just being available to people, to speak to people with their concerns, I think he'll bring a new aspect to the school system that'll definitely be beneficial. It looks like we're headed in the right direction.
What are some of the things you see coming over? You're in now for 3 years. What do you see coming out of the school committee meetings? What do you think are some of the biggest issues? The budget cuts is one big part of it. How do you see the school committee acting in all of this?
Oh, first of all, I think we have to recognize the fact that Wilmington's very fortunate, and at every school, every superintendent candidate mentioned the fact that we actually got an increase into our budget as compared to a lot of other towns which had a decrease. As far as some of the issues that we'll face, right now we're within a very vital transition period. We have the new superintendent and a lot of long-time dedicated employees, such as the athletic director, special education director, food service director. We're all going to be looking for people to fill their positions as they move on and retire. So that it is a vital time, and those are some of the key things. It can be a time that may be very unstable for the transition, so it's important that we do the right things and make the right choices to make sure we continue to head in the right direction.
I've been joined by Mark DiGiovanni, the apparent winner of tonight's school committee race. Mark, thanks for joining me.
Thanks, Chris.
All right. I'd like to bring in another guest now. The other winner of tonight's school committee race, Mike Baker. Mike, welcome to WCTV.
Thank you.
Congratulations tonight.
Thank you.
Why get involved in the school committee? What were some of the issues that drew you out this year?
Well, as a parent of a Bothwell kindergarten and 2-year-old who'll be going to school in several years, and just listening to the parents, cuts in funding, from the state level, and parents being concerned with the MCAS scores, and just the kindergarten teachers lacking some of the basic supplies, I think was enough to push me to try to get involved as a parent.
One of your big issues, you said, was to stop teacher bashing. Talk a little bit about that and how you might go about doing that.
Well, for example, with the MCAS scores, I know the teachers take a lot of heat that the scores are middle of the pack or towards the low end, and I don't think it's fair to attack teachers when they don't have the classroom resources that they would need, just for example, with MCAS tests. Let's send them to the workshops and give them what they need to teach the proper curriculum so these kids can actually go out and score well on these tests, if in fact that's what they're going to be judged by.
And budget cuts is one thing that seems to be looming on everybody's mind. How does Wilmington avoid the brunt of those budget cuts?
Well, as Mark had mentioned, Wilmington was lucky enough to actually see just over a 4% increase in our funding, and that's where part of my platform was trying to work closely with state legislators and just do everything possible on that level to secure as much funding as we can for our schools, and once again pursuing any additional state or federal grants that we could for the town of Wilmington schools.
Now, you're an EMT, and one of your other issues was to stop any kind of cutting of school nurses. Tell us why that's such a big issue with you.
Absolutely. Seconds matter. In a life and death situation, seconds matter. I mean, we have a great fire department in town. We have a great police department. I'm actually dressed like this because the fire department picked me up from a collapsed staircase the other day. I couldn't get into my suit or my pants or my shoes. But there's nothing like having a nurse in the school. My wife's a nurse. I know what they do. I know what they're capable of doing. And I know if, God forbid, my child had an allergic reaction or God forbid, fell and got cut, there's nothing like having a nurse right there on scene. As I say, seconds can matter, in a bad situation.
And as Mark mentioned earlier, there's a lot of change coming out of the Wilmington School Committee. We mentioned change kind of being the theme of the entire evening. A lot of long-time Wilmington teachers retiring, superintendent retiring with new teachers, new superintendents. Where do you see Wilmington school system going over the next couple of years? You're in for 3 years.
Hopefully nothing but forward. I'm a firm believer in communication, and both my lines of work, communication is key. And I think as the school committee, with teachers, administrators, and especially parents, we need to all communicate, get on the same page, and whatever needs to be done, let's move forward and get that done for the benefit of the children.
Great. All right, Mike Baker, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right. I'd like to introduce my next guest for this evening, a candidate and winner, because he's running uncontested, for the Redevelopment Authority, Jason Tilsley. Jason, welcome to WCTV.
How you doing, Chris?
Congratulations tonight. For a lot of people, the emphasis was on the school committee and the selectmen's race. A lot of people don't really know much about the Redevelopment Authority. Yep. Can you explain to us what the Redevelopment Authority does?
What the Redevelopment Authority is any parcels in town, for example, the Route 38 project or any other parcels the town owns, that the Redevelopment Authority will help the town build it and just make it better for the citizens.
Mm-hmm. What do you see as being some of the big issues coming out of the redevelopment authority meetings? Are there certain things that
I think
that
probably the
committee
biggest
worked
issue now, maybe I think, is the MBTA, the brand new station down in the center, and I'm just looking. I'm happy with the votes tonight, and it was just great to just get my foot in the door and hopefully get some youth into the politics in Wilmington.
Right. Yeah, and between Mark and you, there's a lot of people that are really young people getting involved in town politics. How do you think that's going to add to the future of the town?
Well, just knowing how much this town is growing and developing, it's a lot of older people and trying to get the younger kids in, and it's difficult to live here if you're a younger person, and maybe we can try to make it a little more affordable, and hopefully some of us that have lived here all our lives can come back and enjoy Wilmington just as our parents did.
Great. Jason Tilsley, thank you very much for joining me. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Jason Tilsley, Redevelopment Authority winner tonight. I'd like to introduce my next guest for the evening. He is current selectman Mike McCoy. Mike, welcome to WCTV.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
Great.
Don't mind me, I was holding a sign out there for Frank West. I'm not on the Patriots, but just to let everybody know. I probably look like I would be on the Patriots. But
Your reaction to the results tonight?
I'm just happy with the results, and I don't want to take any time or any momentum for the candidates. It's third night, Suzanne Sullivan and Frank West, and I think they did a great job, and it's always the two people who go out and work the hardest. Those are the people who are going to win. And I think they did an outstanding job. They had a great organization, both camps, meaning Suzanne Sullivan and Frank West. And I think they did an outstanding job, and I think they're going to be an asset to the community.
One of the big issues has been the water and a lot of emphasis on change, people not being satisfied with the way things are going in town. Did you get that sense that people are upset at this Board of Selectmen? And how do you think do the results seem to indicate that to you?
Well, the truth of the matter is, and I don't mind saying that, I think some members on the Board of Selectmen aren't in sync with the community. And I think some people try to think that the residents in the community, they don't treat them the way they should be treated. They underestimate the residents in this town. A lot of residents in this town know what's going on, and they proved it today. They proved it last year by coming out to vote, and they voted the best candidates. And I got to congratulate the residents for coming out, especially during a holiday like this.
Where did the Board of Selectmen go from here? A lot of talk about swaying away from town business. Do you agree with that? And do you think that the board can get back to town business with the makeup for the next year or so?
I mean, the town, I can say the Board of Selectmen, they have conducted business. Whether it's positive or negative feelings on the board, the town has gone in a direction to work with the community. I believe the Board of Selectmen could have done a better job in the past year or two. That's my personal belief. And I think the bottom line is people are going to want change. People want to make sure that their selectmen are in sync with the residents in the community, and I think you're going to see a positive board. I'm excited. I'm really looking forward to serving with the two new members, and I'm really looking forward to this board. I think it's going to be one of the best boards the town's ever seen in many years past.
One of the big, probably, as I mentioned with Representative Maselli, the biggest headline besides Frank West and Suzanne Sullivan elected, it's Bob Kane after 25 years, no longer a selectman. Your thoughts on Bob Kane and the results tonight?
Well, I don't know. I think I'd be kind of prejudiced to say anything here tonight, but the bottom line is it comes down to the residents. The residents are in tune, and what they decided to do, and I said it again, I'll say it again, is that they decided to vote the best people they thought for the job, who had more to offer to the residents. And the bottom line is, when you look at candidates, they were all great candidates, number one. But what's interesting is the way Frank West did win. You had 5 candidates running for that seat. That's an incumbent's dream. I would have loved to have had that last year, but that didn't happen. And for Frank West to do as well as he did, there's a strong message out there that people want to see, selectmen working on their behalf. And I think that's the bottom line.
So starting at the next Board of Selectmen's meeting, you will be the senior-most member of the Board of Selectmen. Where do you see the committee going in the next year or two, as far as issues?
Well, you have to take a look in the results in the election. People want clean water. People want to make sure the board's in tune with the residents in the community. They want to be moving in a positive direction. There's other things that we need to address. And I think collectively, we as a whole should be able to work together and offer that to the residents of the town and bring a little stability to the Board of Selectmen. I think you're going to see that. And I'm really excited. I think it's going to be a great board, and I really think the new members are going to do an outstanding job. And we really need to take care of the people's agendas as opposed to personal agendas.
Might we be talking about Chairman McCoy in a year?
Can I tell you, I don't know what's happening. If I become chairman, that's great. If I'm not chairman, let me tell you, I can do just as much in that chair as I can in the Senate chair. So I'm excited serving on the board.
Great. Mike McCoy, thank you
I
very much for
appreciate
joining
it.
me.
Thanks a lot. You're doing a great job here tonight, too. Thank you.
Thank you. Mike McCoy, current selectman. I'd like to bring in my next guest as soon as we get him mic'd up. He's the newly elected member. Do we have results for tonight? Let's go through some results. Yes, let's go through some results tonight as we have them on the screen. Start off with the Board of Selectmen seat. These are the most accumulated results that we have tonight. The 3-year seat. The person that we're projecting, of course, for the win, Frank West, with now 1,386 votes. That's 43% of the votes cast. Jerry Duggan coming in second place, it appears, with 759 votes. That's 24% of the vote. In third place, Bob Kane with 562 votes. That's 17% of the vote. Following him in Urick with 273, and Carl Sagal with 240 votes, or 7% of the vote. Let's go to the next Board of Selectmen's race, the 1-year seat. Suzanne Sullivan with an overwhelming victory tonight. We are projecting her as the winner. 2,282 votes, an overwhelming majority for her. That's 71% of the vote. And her challenger was Dan Wandell Jr., who finishes, or I shouldn't say finish, but as of right now has 941 votes, or 29%. And the other contested race, school committee, 2 for 3 years. Mark DiGiovanni topping the ticket with 2,206 votes, that's 65%. The other winner tonight is Mike Baker, 1,165 votes, or 35%. And not elected, finishing in third, as we see it right now, Anthony Quincy Vale, 639 votes, that's 19% of the vote. All right, I'd like to introduce my next guest now, Jim Gillis, the newly elected member of the Shawsheen Technical School Committee.
Shawsheen Valley.
Shawsheen Valley. It's always the longest title of all of these races.
Yes, it is.
I shouldn't say newly elected. You've been a member for quite some time.
Yes.
What are some of the things? A lot of the emphasis is on the Wilmington School Committee. People don't know what the Shawsheen Tech School Committee is all about. Why don't you tell us a little bit about
Well,
it?
we're a regional school district. We encompass the 5 communities. Wilmington is the regional member. And I ran originally because I wanted to share the resources, because they have an awful lot of resources over there. And they run terrific programs over there right now. One of the biggest problems we're dealing with is MCAS, because we are a vocational high school, and we're working on our certificates, and we're dealing with the state and those issues. And of course, the town of Wilmington has been always very supportive. They have outstanding programs. The infrastructure has been outstanding over there, and they've been very good with their trades, helping Wilmington out with some of the jobs and projects that we've done for Wilmington.
How different is it with the Wilmington School Committee versus the Shawsheen Tech School Committee? I mean, obviously we're talking about 2 different schools, but are some of the problems the same, some of the good sides the same? How does that work?
The problems are very similar, but we're made up with, there's 2 representatives from each community, the 5, so there are 10 board members go around, so that can be interesting during the course of an evening. But the problems are similar. I think that one of the big problems that we're facing, we'd like to introduce violence prevention programs, for instance, and bullying programs, even at the regional schools. So we're looking at a lot of those programs. We're looking at, we have a nice nursing program over there we're very proud of, and it's ongoing. The technology is outstanding over there.
And we should point out that you're retiring this year as the athletic director of Wilmington High School, Wilmington Schools. What are your thoughts? I know it has nothing to do with politics, but as far as sports goes, athletics, and your role, what are some of the memories you're going to take from your years in the Wilmington Athletic Department?
Well, at the end of December will be my 35th year in education, and it's, to me, it seems like a lot of years, but snap your fingers, and that's what we tell the kids all the time, Chris, as you know, and it's gone. I see Mr. Cardello over there, and he can attest to that. We've had... my feelings are that we've had the best kids in the world in Wilmington, and we've had supportive parents, and because of that, we've been able to keep the programs going in bad times. With the budget problems we've had, Wilmington's always been able to survive and keep things going, and I'm happy about that. And the committee and everyone involved has been very supportive. So it's been a great community.
I don't want to put you on the spot, but you are retiring this year, which that removes the conflict of interest you would have had for running for the school. Any thoughts on possibly joining the school committee in the future? The Wilmington School?
You always leave your options open, Chris. It's something I'd actually think about in the future. Wouldn't mind, because I have some experience, and there are some directions I'd like to see our school system going in, and it'd be nice to have a voice. You're a policymaker, and that's what you are.
Jim Gillis, thanks for joining me.
Well, thank you, Chris.
Congratulations tonight.
Thank you very much. And I'd like to congratulate all of the candidates successful and the candidates who weren't successful, because we had some outstanding people running today, so
That's right.
I want to thank them.
Great, thanks a lot. Let's run through the results, if we could, as we have them, and remind some people of the results that we have in case you're just joining us. The headline tonight, Frank West, the overwhelming winner of the 3-year seat on the Board of Selectmen. He has 1,386 votes. That's with all 6 of the precincts reporting. That's with the unofficial results. Again, it does not take into account the absentee votes. We'll be hearing the final official results from Kay Scanlon probably in about 15 or 20 minutes, although I don't want to quote her on that because I haven't talked to her. I have no idea when they'll be here, but they should be here soon. Following Frank West, Jerry Duggan with 759 votes, 24%. Bob Kane, 562 votes, in third place with 17%. Behind him is Ann Urick with 273 votes, that's 8%, and Carl Sagel, 240 votes, that's 7%. To the 1-year seat for the Board of Selectmen, Suzanne Sullivan, the overwhelming winner, it appears tonight, 2,282 votes, 71%. Dan Wandell Jr., her challenger, finishing, or I should say, as of right now, 941 votes, that's 29% of the vote. The other contested race, the school committee, 2 for 3 years, it's Mark DiGiovanni and Mike Baker finishing, we see as with school committee seats at the end of the night. Mark DiGiovanni, 2,206 votes, 65%. Mike Baker, 1,165 votes, or 35%. Behind him, Anthony Quincy Vale, 639 votes, or 19% of the vote. I'd like to welcome my next guest, Selectman currently, Ray Lepore. Ray, welcome to WCTV.
Thank you, Jim.
I'd like to get your reaction to the results tonight. What do you make of these?
Oh, sorry about that. Can't say I'm not a dedicated person here.
And tell us a little bit about the results. Frank West, Suzanne Sullivan will be the winners tonight. Your thoughts about serving with them?
I'm so delighted. I mean, to really see that finally the board's going to have open all kinds of, I don't know, for words as far as opinions and debates and as far as ideas. And to me, that's why I get involved with politics, just like what the people showed to me, that's what they want. They want people that are, they can relate. They want people that basically feel for their issues and community service. And I think for me, it played a lot importance even to myself, showing that they're going to take pride in themselves to elect people like this. And I don't know, I'm so delighted tonight. I don't know what I can really express my happiness, I should say.
The theme for tonight seemed to be change, people wanting change. What kind of change are we talking about over the next year or two as you see it?
I think that's going to be a lot more ideas. I think that basically as far as the issues, I think we're going to deal with the issues. I think, we are a town that's got a lot of problems and a series of things that are going to have to be really looked at and addressed. And I think the people that we have, people are going to relate to say, they're not afraid to call one of us up or a bunch of us up and say, listen, this is what we feel. And we're going to listen, and we're going to, as a unit, we're going to relate to them and do our best to, help work with them. And I think this is what it's about, and I think for Wilmington, this is what the people really want. And I'm just so delighted that in the last 2 years to be part of this and see that people want this change, that they want to be helped and they want to express their views. And I think the people that we have elected, they're going to be a fine, fine additive to this community.
Are you surprised tonight by the overwhelming results as we have them? I mean, the winners have won by a huge margin, it appears, tonight. Are you surprised by that decisiveness?
Not really, because take, for instance, Suzanne Sullivan. She put her time in. She's been on for years. She's been at meetings. She's been expressing her views. She's been working. And that's what it's about. I think people, want to say, geez, they're relating to the issues of the real concerns of this town. Frank West is the same. I think Frank, 13 years of being historic committee and going to meetings and going just dropping into senior citizens and
being part of the community, I think they want this kind of feeling. They want people to relate with them. And this is a pure example to show this is what it's about. And I'm just so happy that the people finally took their ropes and showed us as politicians that this is what they want, this is what they want to address. And I think, you know, in due respect, I think each one of us as a board, we're going to do our best to abide by them. If not, I will at least do the very best that I can to keep this as a unit, not as individual leadership. We're going to think as a group in a unit. And I'm just so happy that, you know, hopefully we can do it, and we're going to do it.
I've been joined by Ray Laporte, current selectman.
Thank you,
Thank you
Jim.
very much. I'd like to introduce my next guest, Selectman Bob Kane. Bob,
Hi.
welcome back.
Well, thank you.
I'd like to get your thoughts. The results have come in. It appears as though you will not be reelected, but your thoughts on the past 25 years and some of the memories you have of your career here.
Well, thank you. I'm sorry. But this is my opportunity to say thank you to the community for 25 years. I appreciate the opportunity to serve the community, and I hope to stay involved so that we'll see what happens from here on. But I would like to congratulate those candidates that obviously have won their contested seats. I'm sure that they'll provide as much service to the community as anybody else. So, and I want to say thank you to you.
Thank you.
Thank you to the staff. We had a very good relationship all this time, and I hope things continue on that way.
I want to get your thoughts on the past 25 years. Some of the things that stand out in your memory. You've been through a lot. What do you remember?
Geez. A lot of the public safety issues that the town has done over the past years, you know, traffic lights coming in on dangerous streets or dangerous intersections, the new middle school that come in on time, under budget, the public safety building, all the playgrounds that the town has come forth with, and the ability to get out of deficit and get into in the black and just actually have some money in the bank. We've been very fortunate that we had a very strong town manager. I'm sure he's going to be tested in the future. So we need to be able to give him the opportunity to do his job and not get in the way.
Where do we see you next? Are you going to continue to be active in
I'm going to
Wilmington
take tomorrow
politics?
off.
Yeah. For the first time in 25 years, I think.
Yes, actually.
Yeah.
That's right.
Great. Well, thank you very much
All right,
for
thank
joining
you.
me.
All right, bye now. Thank you.
Bob Kane, 25-year veteran, the Wilmington Board of Selectmen. I'd like to introduce reintroduce Jim Stewart, the town moderator, who has been very helpful tonight reading off the unofficial votes.
Good man.
And Jim's going to talk a little bit about the town meeting, which is coming up next weekend. It's a very important event, just as important, some would say, as the town election, where every registered voter of the community has an opportunity to voice his or her opinion on some of the important issues in town, and to talk about some of those issues that might be coming up at the town meeting. Jim Stewart.
Thank you again, Chris.
Let's talk a little bit about the town meeting, some of the things next week that will be on the agenda.
Sure. First, let me thank the voters of the town of Wilmington for re-electing me to another 3-year term as your moderator, and congratulations to all of the candidates who ran, not just those that were victorious, but all of those that participated in the process, and I'm looking forward to working with those that were elected, and congratulations to them. I just wanted to make sure that everybody at home has received one of these warrant booklets from the Finance Committee. This is the book you should bring to town meeting next week, which again starts at 10:30 at the Larry Cushion Gymnasium at Wilmington High School. There's 49 articles on the warrant this year. As always, a very important budget, a number of rezoning articles, some bylaw change articles, a couple of land sale issues, some street acceptances, and a number of petitioned articles that are in the warrant booklet. Please take the time to review this and come on down and participate in what is a great process, and hopefully we'll see you next week at 10:30.
Great. Jim, I want to get your thoughts on, if I go down to town meeting, say I've never been to a town meeting before, is my voice really going to count for all of these issues?
Well, I think you just have to look at last year's town meeting. We had a very important article on town meeting floor at annual town meeting, that the Wilmington Library,
Yes.
and won by 5 votes. There was a motion and a petition to rescind that article, and in August, that rescission won by 8 votes. So does your vote count? You bet it does. So come on down and participate in that process, and please make sure you're getting your say in your vote as to how this town runs. You did that today, and we've seen some change, and congratulations on electing the people that you think should be representing you in the future. Come on down and participate in the second part of that process, and that's the town meeting.
I also want to talk to you a little bit about the results tonight, and in particular, Bob Kane, 25-year. We just heard from him, 25-year veteran of the Board of Selectmen. Could you share your personal thoughts of your experiences with Bob Kane, or some of the things that he's contributed to the town? I know you like to stay impartial, being the town moderator.
What I'd like to say is, regardless of whether you agree or disagree with someone like Mr. Kane, 25 years of service to the community as a volunteer deserves our gratitude. Today he got a vote. Obviously the vote was clear that the residents of the town of Wilmington did not want Bob back on the Board of Selectmen. That shouldn't take away from the service that he's given this town in the past. And 25 years is a long time to serve this community as a volunteer, and we should thank him for that.
Jim Stewart, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And I'd also like to thank Jim for helping us out tonight reading the unofficial results, and for giving us some insight as to next week's town meeting. I had an opportunity today to talk to some of the people that were lining the streets of the polling places, some of the candidates themselves, the campaign supporters, talking about the town issues and some of the important things coming out of the town, and some of the things that might shape the town's future. We have some videotape of some of the things from earlier today. Let's take a look at the videotape as we have it. We'll be back. With one stamp of the gavel this morning, Town Clerk Kay Scanlon officially ended 3 long months of campaigning and allowed the people of Wilmington to cast their votes. Voters have a series of tough choices on this year's ballot, and they flooded to the polls in high numbers this morning.
Town clerks always want to have a good turnout. We do all this work and prepare for our voters, and we'd hope they would come out. It looks like a fairly good day, and people seem to be coming to vote on their way doing other things.
Meanwhile, the candidates spent their day outside Wilmington's 3 polling locations, making one last push to get out the vote.
Can't help but be apprehensive, and it's not just this election, it's all the elections, because you never know what impresses people, why they're coming out to support one candidate or the other. So what we try to do is the best job we can, and hope that they realize that we're out there working for them.
I feel good. We'll see what happens, but so far so good. And I just looked at my watch, and it's going to be a long day, but I guess I'm totally up for it now, so we'll see how things go, but I feel pretty good right now.
I've had a good response from the voters. I've had some phone calls. I've actually had a couple of notes dropped off. People like what I've had to say. My son and the children he plays with in the neighborhood, I'm friendly with those parents, and they like what I've had to say. So I'd like to think I have one of the slots, but I guess we'll find out at 9 o'clock if I do.
I think my chances are pretty good. I'm definitely a dark horse candidate, so I don't think that I was a favorite by anybody's choice, but I think I bring something to the table that a lot of the other candidates don't bring, which is a simple logic and the ability to get certain things done.
And on a gorgeous April day, dozens of campaign supporters and family members of the candidates lined the streets to welcome voters.
The people are sick and tired of not being heard. They're sick and tired of basically being told at meetings to keep quiet. They're sick and tired of not being called on when the selectmen don't like what's being said.
I believe that there's time for change. We need a change, and I believe that's each of the candidates I'm supporting, Suzanne Sullivan and Jerry Duggan, they're for change.
I've known Mark for a long time, and I've had the opportunity to coach him and to teach him in my DARE program. And as far as young people go in this community, he's as bright and caring, intelligent a young man as I've ever encountered. And I think he's got a lot to offer, to put a perspective of a young guy on the school committee who's recently out of school and still in touch with what's going on in the community.
But now the fate of this year's election rests in the hands of Wilmington voters. And in just a matter of time, we'll find out who they've chosen to lead the community. Welcome back to WCTV's live coverage of Election Night 2003. I'm Chris Cassidy. I'd like to run through our unofficial results as we have them for you, starting with the Board of Selectmen seat, the 3-year seat. The person that we're projecting tonight, Frank West, 1,386 votes, 43% of the vote. Following him, Jerry Duggan, second place with 759 votes. Huge margin between first and second place tonight. He has 24% of the vote. Bob Kane coming in third place, that 25-year selectman career coming to an end this evening, as we've mentioned before. 562 votes, 17%. Ann Yurick behind him, 273 votes, 8%, and Carl Sagal with 240 votes and 7%. The Board of Selectmen seat one-year term, Suzanne Sullivan, the overwhelming winner tonight, 2,282 votes, 71%. Behind her, Dan Wandell Jr., 941 votes, or 29%. And the other contested race, Mark DiGiovanni topping the ticket. He will be elected to the school committee, 2,206 votes, or 65%. Mike Baker, 1,165 votes, 35%. He will also be elected to the school committee. And Anthony Quincy Vale, finishing in third place, 639 votes, or 19% of the vote. And we'd like to invite you to stay with us. Kay Scanlon will be coming out soon to give us the final official results. And of course, immediately following that will be the official swearing-in ceremony. And the person to my left will be sworn in as a new selectman. Frank, welcome back to WCTV.
Thank you very much, Chris.
How does it feel?
I'm just amazed and exhausted and just thankful to people.
Who are some of the people that were so instrumental of your campaign?
First and foremost, I think first and foremost is my wife, Karen, and my two kids, and I'd like to thank them all very much. A lot of people in the audience, Mike McCoy, Ray Lepore, Marilyn Cox, and all of Marilyn's family was certainly instrumental. I'd like to also thank all the candidates. I mean, whether the candidates were winners or losers, I think we're all winners, and we brought a lot of issues to the town, and hopefully we'll act on those issues over the next several years.
I asked you before how badly you wanted to be a selectman, and now it appears that you've had it. Does it feel like all that work, all the times that you've appeared at all the meetings, selectmen meetings, and even meetings that most people would never want to go to, does it feel like it's all paid off tonight?
I'm just still in amazement, to be honest with you. I'd have to say yeah, but I'm in amazement.
Why do you think there's been so many people that have voted for you? And when you look at that number and this number of votes next to your name, I mean, how does that feel? There aren't that many people that can say that's happened to them.
I can't believe it. I thought it was going to be a really, really tight race, and I can't believe it.
And let's talk about some of the issues, some of the things you've been very instrumental about. What's one of the first things that you're going to do when you take that seat at the Board of Selectmen?
That's a good question. Work for the people. This is the work on behalf of the residents, the people that supported me and the entire town.
Great. Frank West, congratulations tonight.
Thanks a lot, Chris. Thank you, everybody.
I've been joined by Frank West, who will be easily the winner of the 3-year seat of the Board of Selectmen's race. I've been told that Kay Scanlon will be here in about 10 or 15 minutes. It's been a long night for her, counting all of the votes, and for all of her staff. She will be here soon. As soon as she is here, we will cut in and bring that to you live. And of course, like I said, immediately following that, the swearing-in ceremony with tonight's winners. Right now, I'd like to go to a video of interviews with some of the campaign supporters and some of the candidates that we've had throughout the day. A little bit more in-depth question and answer session with those campaign supporters. And let's go to that video right now. You're watching WCTV. We'll be back with the final results in just a moment.
Of Mass and in the manner prescribed in the bylaws of said town of Wilmington, you are hereby directed to notify and warn the inhabitants of the town qualified to vote in town affairs to meet and assemble at the West Intermediate School, Precincts 1 and 2, Wildwood Street School, Precincts 3 and 4, and the Town Hall, Precincts 5 and 6. The polls are to be open 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. for the election of the following town offices. To bring in your vote for: 1 selectman for the term of 3 years, 1 selectman for the term of 1 year, an unexpired term, 1 moderator for the term of 3 years, 2 school committee members for the term of 2 years, unexpired terms, 2 members of the school committee for the term of 3 years, 1 member of the Housing Authority for the term of 5 years, 1 member of the Redevelopment Authority for the term of 5 years, and 1 member of our Regional Vocational Shawshene Technical School Committee for the term of 3 years.
I think that's for next week. Yeah.
How do you feel about your chances tonight in the campaign?
Yeah, I feel pretty good. I've had a good response from the voters. I've had some phone calls. I've actually had a couple of notes dropped off. People like what I've had to say. My son and the children he plays with in the neighborhood, I'm friendly with those parents, and they like what I've had to say. So I'd like to think I have one of the slots, but I guess we'll find out at 9 o'clock if I do.
What are some of the things you've been doing in the last couple of days to try to ensure some of those final votes?
Just, talking to some neighbors I haven't talked to before, doing some standouts at busy locations, going around delivering some more of my information, why I'm running and who I am, and I gave an interview to the Lowell Sun, and they did a article in their paper and pretty much, summed up what my campaign's been all about.
Great. And how would you characterize the race this year? It seems like this is the first time in a long time that there's been competition in the school committee race. Is that good? Is that bad? How does that work for you?
I think it's good because I think the candidates are going to do their homework a little more and look into the issues more. And both my opponents have some great ideas, and I think are there for the right reasons. And and it's been a clean race. There's been no negativity, and I like to see that. We all shake hands. You saw Mark, hey, good luck, shook hands, and it's been a real clean, friendly race, and I think that's the most important thing, that we've stuck to the issues and what we can do to help us instead of, slamming each other and, how politics can get sometimes.
Yeah. If there's maybe one or two of the biggest issues on parents' minds, on voters' minds for the school committee, what do you think they are?
The League of Women Voters roundtable they had, the two biggest issues seemed to me was the MCAS scores and after-school programs for children that are maybe too old for the ones that they are for the younger kids, but too young to be letting themselves into houses. Is there anything that can be developed? And a very close third has been concerned with the nursing cutbacks in the schools.
You're supporting Mike Baker. Why have you decided to support him this year?
Because he's a member of the union, and he believes in helping the children out in the schools and that. So when I heard that, that's all I needed, so I came up to support Mike.
What are some of the issues, things in the school system around Wilmington that Mike supports that you also agree with?
Well, Mike said about the nurses cutting back. It seemed like they're cutting back on everything, and that's very important to children.
The races this year, the selectmen's race, also the school committee race, there are a lot of candidates, probably more so than normal. Why do you think that is? Why are there so many people coming out and running for town government offices?
I don't know. I think that the people are more concerned now than they were before. I don't know what started it, but to me, it seems like everyone is concerned about the schools, or the towns, and everything else, which before everything was kind of just laid on the side.
How would you characterize this year's campaign? Are there some, do you think this year's election is a little bit more important as far as the issues go than the past?
Yes, definitely.
And what makes it more important this year?
The people are sick and tired of not being heard. They're sick and tired of basically being told at meetings to keep quiet. They're sick and tired of not being called on when selectmen don't like what's being said.
What are some of the things that you'd like to see change on the Board of Selectmen's race?
A lot of things. I'd like to see the voice go back to the people. I'd like to see respect come from the board to the people as well as from the people to the board.
Night 2003 in Wilmington. I'm Chris Cassidy. The moment we've all been waiting for all night, and for the most part since this campaign season began in January, has finally arrived. The town clerk, Kay Scanlon, is here with the final official results. Kay?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for your patience. As you know, we check and double check, and it does take us a few minutes longer, but well worth the effort. A total of 3,794 Wilmington residents cast their vote, We have 14,209 registered voters. This is 27% of the vote. As is prescribed by law, declaration of the vote is as follows. For selectmen, 1 for 3 years. Robert J. Kane, 655. Gerald R. Duggan, 875. Carl Sagal, 266. Frank West, 1575. Ian Urick, 331. Ian Urick, 331. Elected Frank West.
Beers on the ice, Frank.
Selectmen for 1 year, an unexpired term, Suzanne Sullivan, 2600. Daniel C. Wandell Jr., 1104. Elected Suzanne Sullivan. Moderator, elect 1 for 3 years, James C. Stewart. They knew you were elected before I even read the total. 2629, elected James C. Stewart. For school committee, elect 2 for 3 years, Michael R. Baker, 1288. Mark D. Giovanni, 2510. Anthony Quincy Vale, 773. Elected Michael Baker and Mark D. Giovanni. School committee, elect 2 for 2 unexpired 2-year terms. Teresa Bonapane, 1866. And Marilyn Lamson, 2001. Elected Teresa Bonapane and Marilyn Lamson. Housing Authority, elect 1 for 5 years, Robert C. DePasquale, 2532. Elected Robert C. DePasquale. Redevelopment, 1 for 5 years, Jason Tilsley, received 2491. Elected Jason Tilsley. And for the Regional Vocational Technical School Committee, elect 1 for 3 years, James M. Gillis, 2506. Elected James M. Gillis. I'd like to take a minute to thank everyone who's involved in the successfully run election. First of all, my wonderful election workers who toll for me. And may I just mention, at the minimum wage. And to my AVM techs who keep our machines in tip-top order, I can't thank you enough. The Public Buildings Department, DPW staff, my wonderful police officers who look out for us all day. To my talented office staff, my assistant Carolyn Kenny and Florence Webster, who is a senior aide in my office and who helped out enormously this week, and to the town manager who sees and cooperates with me with everything that I need. I thank you all, voters, for turning out and making this a successful election. We'll do our swearing in for everyone who's here. Am I going to go as far over here? Jim, do you want to move a little bit so we get everybody in? Okay. Okay, so everyone raise their right hand. I, and repeat your name, do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully and impartially,
that I will faithfully and impartially,
and to the best of my ability,
and to the best of my ability,
perform the duties
perform the duties
imposed upon me by my election
imposed upon me by my election
as an officer of the town of Wilmington,
as an officer of the town of Wilmington,
according to the bylaws of the town of Wilmington
according to the bylaws of the town of Wilmington,
and the laws of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts.
the laws of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Jason. Congratulations, Mike. Congratulations, Susan. Congratulations, Frank. Congratulations.
See you next week. Actually, we'll see you.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, all.
Thanks, Kay.
Oh, you're welcome. Oop, I guess I don't want this.
You guys.
Now they'll put you in. Thank you.
Whatever the issues are on the table, I guess that that evening is the issues. I have a lot of issues that weigh heavy on my mind that the community faces, and I'm eager to roll my sleeves up and tackle them. So.
And Frank, what are your thoughts on Suzanne's candidacy and everything that happened this year?
Just look forward to working with her. It's great. Looking forward to working with her and the rest of the board.
Suzanne, your thoughts on Frank?
Ditto. I know it's not a very long statement, but I look forward to working with Frank, and I look forward to working with the other selectmen on the board also. I'm looking forward to the job, and I can't wait to get going on it and do the work that needs to be done.
Great. Congratulations to both of you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you very much, Chris.
Great. Well, that concludes tonight's coverage of the 2003 Wilmington Town Election, live from Room 9 of the Town Hall. I'd like to thank everybody that helped us out tonight from WCTV in Room 9. We have a very hard-working crew of volunteers here at WCTV that have brought tonight's coverage home to you, the viewer. You'll see their names mentioned on the credits before you in a few minutes, but I'd like to personally recognize some of them. Our associate producer tonight was Sandra Curtin, director Rick Aronofsky, statistician Don Cassidy, audio Ron Bucheri, our graphics person was Allison Curtin, camera tonight Tom Bazira, Don Leard. Paul Curtin helped out tremendously getting the results to Town Hall.